Welcome to Real Life. Real lessons in emotional healing and freedom. Hi, I'm your host, Helen Nacintu, a holistic guide, intuitive calibrator reflector, and fellow traveler on this path of soul remembrance and inner alchemy. This podcast is a sacred space to remember who you are beneath the noise and reclaim your power through presence, softness, and soul truth. Each episode is an invitation to rise, not by force, but by frequency. Join me as we anchor in the love energy together. Welcome to another episode of Real Life. Today, we are going to be taking a look at aligned spaces for business and how to liberate our lineages for wealth and success. In this podcast, we are going to explore how the places that we live and work in can help us heal the ancestral traumas we may be carrying and elevate the businesses that we are building. I am your host, Helen Nacintu, and today we're exploring how the ancient Indian science of Vashtu Shastra can be connected to ancestral trauma and why arranging your workspace might be one of the most practical ways to shift deep inherited patterns that influence your leadership, your money decisions, and your capacity to succeed. Carl Jung once said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That one quote has guided my work for many, many years. Today, we'll ask a Vashtu-flavored version of Jung's idea. What if the unconscious also lives in our rooms? And when we rearrange our spaces with intent, could we be helping the unconscious become conscious, not only within us, but across our lineage? Good question. So, what is Vashtu and why it matters for your business? If you are not already aware, Vashtu Shastra is a classical Indian system for harmonizing buildings with natural forces. You can think of it as a cousin of feng shui with its own cosmology. Vashtu Shastra maps the 5 elements, which are earth, water, fire, air, and spaces across cardinal directions. And it also suggests how orientation affects energy flow, clarity, and outcomes. This is not just a philosophy. It's applied psychology through environment. As writer James Clear puts it very clearly. Yes, that was an intended pun on words. Anyway, James says, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. When you're an entrepreneur or a leader, your office is not neutral. It's a silent business partner priming your nervous system, your focus, and your choices every single day. In Vashtu Shastra, directions carry a certain flavor. For example, the East symbolizes sunrise, inspiration, and fresh starts. East is great for ideation and vision. The North represents the planet Mercury and flow. It also represents money, clients, communication, and clear thinking. The South represents the planet Mars, as well as discipline, decisiveness, and meeting deadlines. The West is all about maturity and results, and steadiness for long projects. The Northeast is about sacred clarity, wisdom, intuition, and strategic truth. The Southeast represents the fire element, as well as drive and ambition, launches, and creativity with momentum. The Southwest represents earth energy, stability, boundaries, and authority. The Northwest represents the air element, as well as movement, sales, partnerships, and logistics. I am now going to weave these directions through today's podcast, not as rules for you to fear, but as useful tools that you can use to navigate your way through lessons of emotional healing and freedom. That's life. Let's take a look at ancestral trauma in the room. Let's talk about lineage as a result of the ancestral trauma in the room. You may have heard me say this on previous podcasts. Dr. Gabor Mate reminds us that trauma is not what happens to you. Trauma is what happens inside you as a result of what happened to you. Ancestral trauma isn't a ghost story. It's all about patterned stress. It is nervous system templates handed down through behavior, stories, silence, and sometimes epigenetic expression. So, What does that look like in businesses? Here are some examples. Take the founder who freezes during pricing conversations because their grandparents survived scarcity. How about a brilliant creative who overworks to prove their worth because a parent's love felt contingent on achievement? Or the leader who avoids visibility because in the family line, standing out wasn't or didn't feel safe. Which one of those are you? Or which one of those best represents somebody that you know? Let me know in the comments below. Bessel van der Kolk famously wrote, "The body keeps the score." I would like to add, the building keeps the score too. We often memorialize old patterns in piles of paperwork we're afraid to toss, in seating positions that keep us small, in chaotic wires that mirror the tangled stories we never sorted. Here's the liberating truth. The same way patterns were installed through repeated cues, they can also be softened and updated by changing those cues, including the ones your room is sending you right now. Let's look at bridging Vashtu Shastra and the lineage. How orientation supports repatterning. Let's make this more practical. If ancestral imprinting whispers, "Stay small, don't be seen, money is dangerous," your space can greatly counter-signal. Let's take a look at how this materializes. Firstly, if we look at the North is for money, safety, and clear receivables. So, face north when doing finances, sales calls, or outreach. Keep the north zone of your office open, bright, and uncluttered. A simple plant or water feature image placed here can symbolize flow. How about the Northeast? The Northeast is for the strategic truth and lineage clarity. Use the Northeast for meditation corners or whiteboards where you are likely to make high-impact decisions. When families teach us to doubt our inner voice, Northeast helps us to reinstall self-trust. How about the Southwest? The Southwest is for boundaries, titles, and pricing. Ancestral systems may have taught us to be overgiving. Southwest is the earth anchor. Put contracts, SOPs, or your mission statement in the Southwest position. If you hold executive meetings from a chair with a solid wall behind you and view of the door, your body reads that as, I am held. I can lead. Peter Levine says, trauma is a fact of life. It does not, however, have to be a life sentence. Southwest turns that into furniture. Stable backing, clear rates, firm scope. How about the Southeast? The Southeast is for breaking procrastination through action. When lineage condition breeds the feeling of freeze, Southwest represents the fire corner. Therefore, it supports small decisive steps. Keep your launch plan, pitch deck, or prototypes in the Southeast position. Let's take a look at the East position. The East is for rewriting the origin story. Start your day oriented east for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Practice journaling or reviewing your weekly intent. It's a daily sunrise for your lineage, signaling we begin again. Now, let's take a look at your desk as a lineage tool. Think about your desk facing direction as an affirmation you do with your body. For example, when you face north for money tasks, tell your lineage, we can prosper safely. When you face east to plan, you say, we create a new beginning. When you negotiate from southwest, you whisper, our boundaries are strong and loving. In case you didn't hear that, you whisper, our boundaries are strong and loving. When you launch from southeast, you affirm, our fire is allowed. Here are some practical setup checklist items. Number 1, remember to command your space. Whenever possible, sit where you can see the door with a solid wall behind you. This reduces hypervigilance and decision fatigue. Number 2, directional zoning. North is for accounts, CRM, incoming payments. Northeast is for strategy, reflection, and mission. The East is for content, ideation, and vision boards. The Southeast is for production, sprints, and launching tasks. The South is for KPIs, otherwise known as key performing indicators or key performance indicators, deadlines, and performers dashboards. Southwest is for contracts, HR policies, and pricing sheets. The West is for research, documentation, and long projects. Finally, the Northwest is for sales, stand-ups, quick collaborations, and travel planning. Thirdly, one object per intention. This is third on your checklist. Choose a single symbolic object for each zone. Let your room be clear language rather than a loud shout. Number 4 on your practical setup checklist. Breathe before action. Take 3 deep breaths, 3 inhales and 3 exhales at your desk. As Thich Nhat Hanh said, feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. Now, Maya Angelou offered this blessing for entrepreneurs everywhere. She said, do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better. Today, you now know your room better. I hope so, after this podcast. And your room can help you do business in a better way, with calm, with boundaries, and with flow that honors where you've come from and where you're going. I am so grateful that you spent this time with me. If this episode has been helpful, share it with a founder or a leader who's ready to heal forward. And if you rearrange your workspace, tell me what shifted inside for you. And most importantly, what shifted on your profit and loss sheet. I also invite you to share before and after desk photos or stories. Let me know how you get on and what results you come up with. Until next time, may your spaces support your becoming, and may your becoming honor your lineage. Thank you for tuning in to Real Life. If today's episode helped you soften, center, or see things more clearly, please share it with someone walking their own path of emotional healing. Connect with me on Instagram @life or visit life.com to explore deeper offerings, healing sessions, and soul tools. And remember, you do not have to match the energy of the world to change it. You were born to anchor in love. Until next time, stay sovereign, stay anchored in love, and remember to tune into real life.